You know what's going to happen, fellas?
Josh Pascal, though, I stand on that.
Hey, Jeff, to be honest, there's one thing that changed this year that potentially could help some of these guys out, like a Josh Pascal. Terrell Williams, one of the best D-line coaches in the NFL, coming from Tennessee. Like, we might finally have a guy in here who's going to be able to elevate this defensive line. We might have it. I hope we do. That's been I think we've gone through 2 or 3 defensive line coaches since Dan Campbell's been here. I think they got the guy.
How much do you think that actually improves? Like, I understand that it's going to be improvement as far as in the film room and watching that stuff, but how much do you think that actually translates onto the field with these guys as far as production? I'm not saying it's not. Like, I'm asking. Like, I don't really know how to gauge it.
In my head, this is the way it works, especially when you get to that level. It's the same thing like when I was coaching basketball, at a certain level. And once you get to a certain point, a lot of these guys have talent. That's not the question. I think we're like, how do you use it? Like and I'm sure you, Klotz, when you played football in college, there's so many people with talent. It's who can find the best way to get it out of them, who can make. That's just kind of, to me, it's Terrell Williams comes in here and can he bring the best out of some of these guys? He did it with a lot of guys in Tennessee. I think he would be able to do it with some guys in Detroit here, because it comes down in the NFL. It comes down to just like little things that help you get better. Yeah. And if Terrell knows those little things, like, hey, you need to do this, you're doing this instead of this. That's why, like Josh Pascal, I don't think it's that he doesn't have the size or the talent or anything. I think he's not putting it all together. Yeah, and you're not putting it all together, because once you get to that level, it's about the fundamentals. It's about the small things. It's about all of that. So that's where I think maybe that helps elevate a couple of guys, because you don't need him to be a Pro Bowl player. You just need him to get to a point where you're being productive and you're helping out Hutch, and you're not just standing there watching. And I think that, hopefully that changes a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think coaching matters the most in the NFL in terms of player development, because especially when you bring in somebody from the outside and they get kind of an outside look on how you're doing things and how players operate, they can give you a different perspective. I do think that helps. I do. And I think Terrell Williams is one of the, if not the best defensive line coach. He's up there, certainly in the NFL. But like in terms of like reviving players' careers, like you're just beating a dead horse. Like I don't think I think it's over. Like you just got to leave the body leave it alone. There's nothing left you can revive, in my opinion. It's for some players. I think for guys that have potential, want to learn, and want to continue to get better, he's going to be a tool for those guys. And maybe Josh Pascal is one of those guys. But like, Levi Owens-Rike, for example, like that dude's got nothing left. Like I don't think Terrell's going to be like, Hazam, and the dude's a 10-sack-a-year guy. Like I just don't. So I guess, but also, let's not overact and like Terrell Williams walks in, he's just like casting spells on these guys and everyone's just turning into like an elite defensive lineman. That's where I'm at with it.
Let me ask you a question, boy. Just staying in this defensive line room. Week 1.
Talk to me.
Week 1's here, okay, in this situation.
Okay.
Who is leading on the depth chart between these 3 players? Broderick Martin, Levi Owens-Rike, or Mekhi Wingo? Who's sitting at the top of those? Who's that?
Number 1 is Mekhi Wingo.
To me, that's a detriment on Broderick Martin.
That's what I agree. I think
Mekhi's just that. I think he shouldn't have dropped to the 6th round. And I know Broderick was a 3rd rounder. I like Mekhi better than Broderick. I think Broderick just need I'm gonna go to Broderick, because I think Broderick now, he's gotten a year in. I think this offseason is the biggest offseason of his career for him, for Broderick Martin. Like, what step does he take this offseason? Because again, he has the size, he has the talent. Can you go out there and do something with it? And I think maybe with Terrell Williams and DJ Reader now, Aleem McNeil, I think the Broderick Martin, Mekhi Wingo, those 2 guys in this offseason, boom, go out there and be an absolute dog. Now, the Levi thing I'm interested in. Jeff, I'll let you take that.
Jeff's not even interested. Jeff doesn't even want to talk about it.
I'm not interested.
Does he make the roster, you think?
Here's the thing. I don't know. I will say this about Broderick Martin. I do think it's early because we have not seen him to declare if he stinks or not. But what I will say, this year they signed DJ Reader He's a upgrade to their defensive line, no question. I think that's more that them understanding like we got to give Broderick more time because he's a true like nose tackle. Like that dude is like a true just force in the middle. I don't think he has like Chris Jones, like he's gonna get out. No, he doesn't have that upside, but he is a big man. If there's an injury to DJ Reader, I fully expect him to be the first one out there. If he is not, or Aleem McNeil. I think Mekhi Wingo could fill that role and play on the edge. So I think Mekhi sees the field faster, in my opinion, because he's more versatile.
Yes.
But if Broderick does not see if he does not go out there, let's say they have an injury and Levi goes in. What are we doing? I mean, like at that point, it's like, okay, I get it, but eventually, like the dude's got to play. You know what I mean? Like, let's not we can't just keep saying he's a development player for 4 years. Like the dude you got to trust him at some point. And that's why I'm like, we'll see this year with Broderick. If there is an injury, knock on wood. I don't like me saying that, Boone. But if he's not out there and they go, well, we got to get another, they get another Tyson Alulu or someone to come in and fill the role. Yeah. No, that means he's most likely a bust at that point. I mean,
the minute I saw Benito Jones like playing significant snaps over Levi, and I know Benito's gone, but that's when I knew.
I'm a Benito fan. Come on.
That's true. That's true.
Well, it's not even a knock towards Benito. It's more so a knock towards Levi, man. I mean, you're a second-round pick. I don't know where Benito was drafted, but I can assure you he was not in the second round, and it was high in the second round too. So Levi will be a stud. Mark my words from Booner's Bulge. Booner,
shout out for the $5.
Booner's Bulge is high on Levi. We appreciate you, Booner Bulge. But I see the Pascal, and I like Pascal. I think, in all honesty, like with the whole like injury thing, if there is an injury on the edge or injury, like let's say Aleem goes down, Josh Pascal I think could fill that role because he can get after the quarterback. He's a versatile guy. He's like 6'3". But I'm talking about like if you're it depends on, I guess, what scheme you're running, what down is it, and all that stuff. But if it's like a rundown and they're running the football and you don't have Broderick out there and and they have someone else like insert whoever to kind of like Broderick, I think he's got enough time to start getting at least on the field at some point. Like,
again, big off season for him.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I hope he comes in shape. I hope he comes right. I hope he kind of did a little bit what Aleem McNeil did. Just not like slim down, but just go out there and get in like insane shape. Show up to OTAs and training camp and everything on a different level. Hey, I'm serious about this. I want to be great. I hope so. I hope that's what he did. And I'm sure knowing the way Dan Campbell and those guys run that organization, I'm sure they've had a conversation and they said, hey, this is where you need to be. This is what you need to have. Like, this is what we need you to do. And I hope he did it. I do think the Mekhi Wingo thing, though, like to your point, Jeff, I do think that he's going to have the opportunity to have some snaps on the edge. So that's why I do think you're going to probably see him on the field more than you will Broderick Martin right away. That's just, in my opinion, I think he's going to find a way to get on the field more just based off of that being a little bit more versatile.
I just wonder too, because I think they definitely can find a way to put both Pascal and Wingo out there. But I think Wingo, if he's comparable to anybody, and you kind of brought it up, Jeff, it is Pascal. So if they're like, if you were to do down a depth chart, I almost feel like if they were to have Pascal, he'd be behind Pascal sometimes before you put him behind Levi and Broderick. Because I know I brought it up just in a hypothetical, but the more I think about it, I feel like Levi and Broderick are going to be fighting. You could be seeing Wingo and Josh be fighting for spots. That makes sense.
Yeah. And that's fair. I honestly, when I was saying it, I didn't think about Pascal because, like, again, it's like these guys are all versatile. Like he's like an edge, is a defensive tackle. But that's why I mentioned if there are injuries, maybe Pascal's out and DJ like there's a circumstance, he should be the one to go out there. They should trust him, and I think they will. I do. I see. Is 5 sacks reasonable? Yeah, I think that's a fair expectation. I mean.
I'd be so happy if you got 5.
Yeah,
that'd be huge.
3, like I think anywhere from 4 to 6 sacks should be like a reasonable expectation for Pascal. Like he should. Okay, you're a second round pick. Let's see it.
I don't even think he's a second round pick that I don't even think is in a situation where he necessarily has to produce like it. That's why like 5 sacks is okay. If this was a bare bones defensive line room, you'd be hoping for him to get 6, 7. But I just think. Even if he gets 4, but they're timely 4 sacks and he's still creating pressure that doesn't lead to sacks on his part, I'm going to be happy with that. I just think if he needs to have an impact this year, in some way, a significant impact timely to order to not be a bust.
Yeah, he had 2 sacks last year, so 3 more.
If he
3 more.
If he makes plays like he did in the NFC Championship game when they tried doing that end around to Debo and he completely obliterated the tackle and made a play behind the line, it was in like inside or between the 40s too. So it was really big for field goal range. If he can make plays like that consistently throughout the season, I think, which he's capable of, I think he'll be well worth the pick.